And to me, that's the biggest thing overall about this year's bracket. The lack of complaints. One conference, the ACC, has 3 number 1 seeds. That hasn't happened in a while. Duke, Virginia, North Carolina. 3 number 1 seeds from one conference, and really there aren't any complaints about that. Gonzaga is the 4th number 1, and there aren't too many complaints about that. Hey, marinate on that for a minute. Just stop on that for a minute. Gonzaga is a number 1, and that is not a huge story. Gonzaga is a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament without winning their conference tournament. And while there might be a few complaints here or there, nobody's going to take that to the streets. That's what Mark Few has done at Gonzaga, what he means to Gonzaga. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that it's become so normal. The Zags are a 1 and nobody blinks. The Zags are a 1 and they didn't win their conference tournament and nobody complains. It's unbelievable. But then again, you're not hearing a lot of complaints about the field in general. The Sunday night and the Monday morning after the brackets were announced used to be the most rage-filled hours of the year. People tripping, people freaking out because they couldn't figure out why one program was left out or another got in. And then that'd be followed by the head of the committee getting on television and fumbling through some explanation of what happened in that hotel conference room. Explanations that involve phrases like eye test, balance of power, other whack phrases that always made it so much worse. But the last few years, it's been pretty quiet. I mean, I hate to say it because crushing the committee used to be such a blast. Crushing the committee used to be the best sport, but not anymore because they really don't give us any reason to do so. I mean, like the damnest thing happened. They started getting it right. They started to actually get pretty good at it. And in fact, not just pretty good, but damn good. Really good. They actually figured it out. Believe me, I would like nothing more than to roll in here this morning and smash the committee. The easiest show of the year would be to crack the committee for a segment and then throw open the phones and let angry fans of schools who were left out do what they do. It used to be that I could clown the committee for being a bunch of stiffs who don't understand basketball, who do super awkward handshakes and high fives. But if you got left out this year, it's on your school, not on the committee. Because like I said, the committee has gotten pretty good at it. Oh, and they're still clever. I mean, like crazy coinky-dinks, like a potential reunion of Buffalo and Arizona State, provided the Sun Devils get through the first 4 in Dayton. You've even got Belmont getting an at-large bid and bringing their head coach to tears. You know, cute stuff like that. And you've got Temple getting a first 4 shot in Fran Dunphy's last year. So what is there really to be angry about this time around? Michigan State as a 2 in Duke's region? Sure. I understand why they're bitter. I understand why Tom Izzo's bitter. I will get there in a minute. But there were years where the committee would have been pumped if the only complaint was about the best 2 seed drawing the best number 1 seed in the same region. And yeah, Cincinnati probably deserved better than a 7. Same with Wofford. But it wasn't that long ago that Wichita State was an undefeated number 1, and they drew Julius Randle, Willie Cauley-Stein, and Kentucky as an 8 seed. An 8. You go undefeated your entire season and conference tournament, and you're rewarded with Kentucky in the first weekend. I mean, that was a reason to riot. That was insanity. This year, again, the biggest complaint is Michigan State has to face a team in the Elite 8 that they'd have to beat to get to the Final Four if they want to win it all. And truthfully, the biggest complaints are never about seeding. It's about who's in and who's out. And if you're in a major conference and you did not make it in, there's a pretty good reason. NC State. I know you NC State fans are bent, but check out your non-conference strength of schedule. I don't want to get all stat head on you State fans, but given that they beat just 2 tournament teams this season, and their non-conference schedule included juggernauts like Maryland Eastern Shore, I don't know, NC State fan, maybe you sit this argument out, Playing a directional school is one thing. Playing a directional and locational school is another. And Maryland Eastern Shore is just that. I'm sure it's a fine academic institution, and this is not disrespecting, not about disrespecting Maryland or the Eastern Shore. But from a basketball standpoint, when you start to say the name of the school, it sounds good, Maryland. If you stop there, we're all thinking about the great Terps teams of the past and the fact that this year's team is pretty good too. Then you get to Maryland Eastern, and it's a little less intimidating. And by the time we get to Maryland Eastern Shore, all the intimidation's gone. And they were not the only directional and locational school. South Carolina Upstate is in there too. And yes, that's a real thing. South Carolina Upstate. Same deal, right? If you're playing South Carolina, that's awesome. Frank Martin's crew, that's going to be a battle. But South Carolina Upstate, again, fine school, I'm sure, but not exactly intimidating on the schedule. So let me say it one more time. The committee is getting better and better at doing their jobs. And the fact that people were not looking to rage and burn something last night tells you that.